Welcome back to That Dad Guy. Today's video is going to be extra special because it's going to be a little unusual. If you like stamps, you've tuned into the right place for that. I'm talking stamps today. I'm not talking stamps, though, by myself. This is a collaboration video. Snailmail with Smokey is also going to be in this video. Kinda. You have to watch two videos in order to understand one video. Or you have to watch two videos in order to understand two videos. That would just be normal, but this isn't quite normal. So what's happening is Snailmail with Smokey and I have decided we're going to ask each other questions and give answers to those questions, but we're not going to do it in the same video. I'm going to ask a question of Snailmail with Smokey, and he's going to answer it, but he's going to answer it in his video. So if you're watching this video all the way through, what you're going to get is my 5 questions to Smokey and my 5 answers to Smokey's questions. And then if you want the rest of the video, you got to go watch his. So that's how we're playing it a little bit different. We've called ourselves Stamp versus Stamp, and it's all about stamps, our questions, Philately. So if you're into that sort of thing, you've tuned into the right place. If you're subscribed to me, thank you so much. If you're not subscribed to Smokey yet, you're going to have to go over and do that and watch his video. These videos have come out at the same time, so they're both going to be available to you right away. So if you want to watch one on your phone and one on your TV or one on your laptop, you can do that and play them side by side, and you can get the experience that way. That's probably the best way to do it. Or you can just watch my video all the way through and then flip over and watch Snailmail with Smokey's video too. You're going to know his video and my video because our thumbnails are the same. We are trying to make some symbiotic relationships with these videos. And so let's get started. All right, Smokey, my first question to you is, what got you interested in Philately? All right, Smokey, you're going right after this old man's brain and you want me to do a memory test on what my first stamp-related memory is. Well, to be honest, I think my first stamp-related memory is going to the Main Street post office here in Moncton. I'm going to show you an old picture of it. Not necessarily when I was there, because if you look at the car in this picture, I wasn't born when those cars were new on the road. But it is a really cool downtown brick building. I've shown pictures of it in other things. It is still a government building. It's no longer a post office. But I used to drive my bike from there, from my house to there, and pick up first day covers, stamps. But one of the memories that really sticks out is one of the times when I was there, there was an older woman. Now, let's say I was 10 or 12 years old at the time. That's probably the time frame I was. And she might have been a woman in her 50s. Maybe. She might have been in her 60s. I'm not quite sure. To me, she was an older woman. She might have been the age that I am now, thinking back of it. It's possible. But she struck up a conversation with me. And looking back on it, maybe the naivety of the times and putting on today's, you don't talk to strangers. A little child doesn't talk to strangers. Some people say, well, it's all right if the stranger is a woman versus a man. I don't think that's true. But at the time when I was growing up, we still talked to strangers. If they were nice to us, we were nice back to them with conversation. Let's not get this anywhere else. But anyway, she wanted to know why I was at the post office, and I said that I was there. I'm a stamp collector. And so she said she had some stamps if I'd like them. And if I gave her my address, which is another red flag from nowadays, you just don't do that, she would mail them to me. So, like a smart young boy I was, I gave her my address. Luckily, what happened was a package turned up, and she had a whole bunch of older stamps in it, all on paper and things, and so I had a great time soaking off the paper and giving the stamps to my father or doing something with him in the collection. And there may have even been a few first day covers in that packet as well, but it was someone giving a kindness. At the time, it is stuck with me all these years later that there still can be kindness with strangers, and not everybody is out to get you. Some people do have good intentions out there, but nowadays you still have to be careful. I would not recommend my children when they were that age to be giving out their address and telling a whole bunch of information about themselves to strangers. But at the time, it did work out. favorably, this time it did work out. So that's my memory. All right, now I know what got you interested in philately. Question number 2 is, what's your favorite stamp in your collection and why? All right, interesting fact about philately that might surprise some people. You know, I don't really know. I still consider myself a novice when it comes to stamp collecting. My father, you can see all these binders back here, those are his stamp collection. He was the intermediate. We won't say the expert, but he was the intermediate in knowledge with stamp collecting, and he had far more knowledge. Maybe I'll get to that stage at some point. But one thing that I did find out that I thought maybe you guys would be interested in was there's a specialized branch of philately out there called Cinderella Philately. Have you heard of it? I hadn't. I researched it a little bit more. It's for people that collect non-postal postage stamps. So what's a non-postal postage stamp? A revenue stamp would be that. So I'm going to throw up some examples of a few different Canadian or provincial Canadian non-postal postage stamps. So things that you would have to collect a revenue or a tax. Maybe you did up your will, and so the lawyer's office mailed you a parcel, and on it there was a revenue stamp. So at the time, the mail carrier had to collect that tax before you got it, before you got your document. So there might be a law stamp on it. You might have a bill come from a telephone company that you had to pay, and the letter carrier had to collect those taxes. So there was more things letter carriers had to do back then than just to deliver your mail and get a signature on things. They had to collect money too. And I know some letter carriers out there would even collect money to buy stamps for people. When I first started out in the rural areas that I worked in, some people wanted to do that, leave money in the mailbox and leave me a card, and I would buy the stamps. I wouldn't do that just because for us now we have to take responsibility. So I wouldn't want to take responsibilities for money getting lost or not being enough money or whatever the case may be, because we get liable. But back then, once again, we're talking about the difference between things back then and they are today. Things have changed. So that's my interesting fact. Cinderella Philately. Are you a collector? Now we know what your favorite stamp in your collection is. What one are you missing that you want to add? So what stamp would you like to add and why? Okay, I didn't have to think very long on what stamp I'd want to design for Canada Post and why. Because it's a post-crossing stamp. Canada hasn't issued a post-crossing stamp yet. Many other countries in the world have. And we've got quite a few post-crossers that are here. Now, I know if you want to have something designed, you have to write in and give your explanation, your pitch as to why you should. And many post-crossers have already been sending letters in and postcards into Canada Post. I did a video in the past and provided the address for it. You can go on the post-crossing forum too, and the address is there as well if you want to write to Canada Post and get a post-crossing stamp. I think we should have one. It's a great hobby, and lots of us in Canada are participating in it, and hopefully more and more all the time as they see YouTube videos about it and see the joy that it brings people. It's also great for us who work for Canada Post because it increases that mail volume and keeps people like me in business. So what would it look like? Well, it definitely would have the post-crossing logo on it, but my concept would be kind of have some sort of a circular thing. I would like to have a bigger stamp or even a shaped stamp too for post-crossing, maybe a circle, and have it, have the post-crosser putting it in the outgoing mail slot, and then at the exact same time have another part of the image having the mail carrier picking the letter up, and then a connection from the mail carrier to the person that sorts the mail, and then to another letter carrier, and then being delivered to a post-crosser's mailbox. So it is a circle that's continuing to happen. The people depicted in it could be of different nationalities, different colors, it doesn't matter. But to show that it's kind of a global thing with probably the globe in the middle, or some sort of depiction with probably Canada being the middle of that globe with a maple leaf or something on it. Something that it shows that it's Canadian, that it is post-crossing, that is a global hobby, and shows how it goes within the postal system. That's kind of how it's envisioned in my head right now. I haven't tried to draw it out, nor do I think I'd be very good at drawing it out, but you probably could use some images off the internet and try to get a pretty good facsimile of it. So I think that's the postage stamp that I would design for Canada Post, if they let me. I know your collection is starting to grow and get bigger, and you've got long-necked animals that you collect in different themes, but when you're looking at stamps of the world, maybe in your collection or that you've just seen out there, what country's stamps impress you the most? Oh, to have money not be an object. Wouldn't that be a wonderful thing, that you could just live your life and do whatever you needed to and not worry? Well, if I had to buy one stamp, the stamp would probably be this one right here. The Red Beaver from 1950 or 1851 on laid paper. That is the first Canadian stamp that was issued by Canada. Now, that was Canada as a province, not the Dominion of Canada, because that didn't happen until 1867, but it's still the first Canadian stamp. There were provinces stamps that were out there, but the reason I'm choosing this one is because I'm a bit of a completionist. So I look at my father's collection, and they're in these Unity stamp albums that I've shown before, and the first few pages of said album, there are no stamps on it because of either their rarity or the value of them. Those are the first stamps that he's got in his collection, and they came out in 1859. There's a couple there, pretty sparse. Now, the first Canadian stamp that I talked about, the Red Beaver, you can get one used for about 1,500 Canadian. So it's a lot of money for me right now. But is it out of the realm of possibilities? No, at some point in time, it's possible. Is it likely? Probably not likely, because it's still a lot of money, and a lot of money to invest in a stamp. Where would I house it was the other question. I'd house it in that album. I know you think of, I mean, I looked at some huge stamps that were super expensive, you know, $250,000, $1 million, ones that had errors in them, all really cool things to have. But when I think of the stamp collection, I think of my father. So what he would want, I think, I mean, he doesn't want to spend the money, or never did want to spend the money, but would like to have all the stamps in here that were depicted. So that's what I would do. If I was given a lump sum of money that had to be put towards stamps, that's what I would do. I would divide it up, buy all the stamps that were missing out of Canada at the time. If there was money left over, I'd go into the provinces and do that and buy those stamps too. Yeah, so that's what I would do. I would complete that versus going out and spending $10 million on an upside down misprint of an airplane or whatever it happens to be. That's what I would do with an unlimited resource, and I would house it not in a bank vault or anything. I'd want to have it somewhere where I could see it and enjoy it. Because what's the point of having it if you can't enjoy it? All right, Smokey, we've made it this far. We're getting to question number 5, the last question. What is one piece of advice you would give a beginner philatelist? All right, you finished strong. Great last question. The most unusual stamp in my collection. Now, I thought about going through page by page and looking at all the stamps in Dad's collection to see what it would be, whether it would be a different shape, whether it would be, I don't know, an image that was on it, or a theme that was on it, a value was the unusual, you know, the paper it was printed on, or whether it was perforated on. But, you know, there's lots of different things you can look at for what makes something unusual. And I almost went and took the word unusual and made it uncomfortable, because what kept sticking out every time I was thinking about that and thinking about where to go was this particular stamps that were in my father's collection. So it's in this binder, and the date of the stamps was between 1941 and 1944. Dad has 3 Hitler stamps from Germany. Now, I know there was a lot more stamps that came out for the Third Reich as well. I'm going to put up another stamp here. I think these are controversial ones to collect. Some people are great into wanting to, maybe you collect Germany, and I mean, that's part of history. That's something you would need in order to complete your collection if you were collecting German stamps. Some people collect things that had to do with the Third Reich or had to do with World War II. So many people do collect them. There are other people that don't want anything to do with them, don't want his image in their collection, don't want to say his name. And I respect both sides of that coin to do it. So why is it unusual? It's unusual because it sparks an emotion. There are a lot of things that spark different emotion, but this one is a very visceral emotion that people have strong opinions one way or the other on. And knowing there's 3 of those stamps in the collection, it's a little odd. But like I've said before, I'm a completionist. So at some point in time, if other stamps that he didn't have became available and were at a good price, I would add them into the collection because they belong in the collection. You can't erase things that have happened in the past. You're actually probably doing yourself a disservice by doing that, because you need to continue to know about history. As a historian, someone who loves history, you need to know the good and the bad of history, as they say, so we're not forced to repeat it again. And if you take things out of the history books because they make you uncomfortable, you're not helping the people that you're trying to teach. If they don't know things that have happened in the past, they're likely to make some mistakes and do them again. So let's not do that. So in my opinion, the most unusual stamps that we have in the collection are those 3 Hitler stamps from 1941 to 1945.
Thank you so much for watching this episode of That Dad Guy. If you haven't done so yet, please consider subscribing to the channel. Also, hit the like button, leave some positive comments, and don't forget to share with your friends. And if you'd like to see the second half of this video, well then hop on over to my channel, Snailmail with Smokey. Thank you so much for watching, and as Rob would say, have a magical week.
What, Polo? You say like, subscribe, share, and tell all your friends?
Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy?